All right, let's just dive right into this. Picture this scenario. We've all been there, right? You're lying in bed, one hand holding your phone, the other pulling up the blanket. Your brain is literally screaming at you, go to sleep, you have work tomorrow. But your thumb, it has a mind of its own. It just keeps scrolling. 3 hours later, you realize you've just loaded your brain with incredibly valuable information, like how sea otters hold hands while sleeping so they don't drift apart, or the intricate details of some random couple on Reddit breaking up over a laser tag dispute, or maybe a video of a guy in the jungle building an entire swimming pool out of mud. Suddenly it's 2 a.m. And as this explainer is going to show, modern humans are truly undeniably elite at destroying our own rest.
So, the crucial question we have to ask ourselves right up front is this: why are we so bad at sleeping? I mean, sleep is one of the most basic, fundamental biological needs, yet we seem to actively fight against it every single night. We've optimized pretty much everything in our modern lives, but when it comes to just shutting down and getting some rest, we are inexplicably terrible at it. To understand why we do this, we actually have to look backward, like far backward. Just think about the stark contrast here. Your modern 2 a.m. is usually spent scrolling or worrying about pointless internet drama. But flip that to a Stone Age 2 a.m., maybe 30,000 years ago, and things were vastly different. Our ancestors weren't lying awake stressing over trivial social missteps. They were busy trying not to become a leopard's midnight snack. Biologically speaking, if you dropped a Homo sapiens into a dark forest 40,000 years ago, we were essentially just an anxious, naked chicken nugget waiting to be eaten. The evolutionary mismatch between these two realities is absolutely staggering.
Which brings us to section 1. Surviving the pitch black. You see, nighttime in the Stone Age was a straight-up horror movie. The dark back then wasn't city dark. There were no streetlights, no faint glow from a neighbor's window. It was pitch black. The kind of dark where you hold your hand in front of your face and honestly wonder if it's still attached to your arm. Biology, humans are kind of a joke when it comes to the dark. We have terrible night vision, no claws, no fangs, and honestly, we can't even run that fast. We were severely disadvantaged the absolute second the sun dipped below the horizon. So before they could safely close their eyes, our ancestors needed a defense system, and that system was fire. Now, humans have controlled fire for hundreds of thousands of years, but it wasn't just a handy tool for cooking dinner. Fire was our primary defense mechanism. It was the ultimate weapon that leveled the playing field, and, totally by accident, it became the very first human social network.
Fire provided some seriously unexpected utilities. It was your flashlight, your heater, your bug spray, and a security fence, all rolled into one. But think about that last point for a second. A free therapy session. Seriously. Have you ever noticed how you can just zone out and stare at a campfire for hours? Studies actually show that watching moving flames lowers your blood pressure and induces a state of relaxation that's almost identical to meditation. And why does that happen? Because hundreds of thousands of years of evolution hardwired your brain to think, hey, there's fire, we're safe, we aren't dead yet. Moving on to section 2, campfires and ancient content. Here is the craziest part about fire. It literally gave us extra hours in the day. Before fire, your day was over at sunset, period. During daylight, you were way too busy trying not to die, hunting, foraging, fixing your tools. But around the fire, we finally had time to socialize. Bro, you won't believe what I saw in the woods today. We finally had the bandwidth to do the useless but beautiful things, to think, imagine, gossip, and tell stories. Many anthropologists actually believe complex language and culture were born during these midnight gossip sessions. Those campfire stories were essentially the OG YouTube, Netflix, and Wikipedia of the Stone Age. The better you are at storytelling, the higher your social status. Content creator is literally the oldest profession in the world. They just use stories from the woods instead of clickbait. All right, section 3, the first high-tech mattresses. So our ancestors are safe, they're entertained, they're telling stories, but what about when it was actually time to sleep? We naturally kind of assume ancient humans just collapsed onto the cold, hard dirt and hoped for the best. But the source material for this explainer completely debunks that. They actually took the physical act of sleeping and their bedding incredibly seriously. Check out this massive number, 77,000. In Subabudu Cave, down in South Africa, archaeologists discovered highly engineered beds that are 77,000 years old. These weren't just random piles of leaves kicked into a corner. They were deeply intentional, structured designs crafted to ensure both survival and comfort throughout the night. Let's actually walk through the layers of these ancient organic mattresses. Step 1, the base layer was made entirely of ash. Why ash? Because it insulates you from the cold stone, deters bugs, and literally kills parasites. Step 2, the middle layer was all grass and reeds, purely for comfort. And step 3, for the very top layer, they specifically selected leaves from plants that act as a natural insect repellent. I mean, your ancestors were crafting organic, multi-layered, anti-mosquito mattresses 77,000 years ago. Meanwhile, it's 2026, and with all our fancy chemical bug sprays, we are somehow still losing the war against mosquitoes. It's wild. Oh, and they were also absolute clean freaks. Instead of doing spring cleaning like we do today, they had a much more extreme method. When it was time to clean up, they didn't just shake out the sheets. They would literally set the old mattress on fire to kill off the bacteria, wipe out any pests, and just start completely fresh. It was deep cleaning, Stone Age style. This brings us to Section 4, the lost two-phase sleep. Today, we constantly stress ourselves out over getting this perfect, uninterrupted 8-hour block of sleep, but the historical data shows that might actually be completely unnatural. Just map this timeline out in your head. Before the Industrial Revolution, humans basically slept in 2 phases. They'd go to bed right after sunset, sleep for about 4 hours, and then they would naturally wake up right in the middle of the night. They'd stay awake for an hour or two, just hanging out, talking, maybe praying, tending the fire, or, making sure the family tree kept growing. After this period of midnight wakefulness, they'd simply go back to sleep for phase 2 until sunrise. So waking up at 3 a.m. before the Industrial Revolution, that was just a totally normal hangout. Fast forward to modern day, if you wake up at 3 a.m. now and start overthinking why your crush didn't text you back in 2018, we immediately panic and label it as sleep disorder. But the truth is, your body probably isn't broken. The Industrial Revolution came along and invented alarm clocks, shift work, and these incredibly rigid schedules. We were forced to artificially compress our natural biphasic sleep into one chunk just so we could show up to the factory on time. Let's look at Section 5, Stone Age brains today. Here is the ultimate, slightly hilarious truth of our modern existence. Your body currently lives in a climate-controlled, Wi-Fi-enabled apartment, but your nervous system? It's still running on 40,000-year-old Stone Age software. Think about it. Why do you need rain sounds on Spotify to fall asleep? Because in the Stone Age, heavy rain meant predators couldn't track your scent or hear your footsteps. Why do you feel safe sleeping next to someone but get anxious sleeping totally alone in the dead of silence? Because your Stone Age brain knows there is safety in numbers. And why do you stare at LED lights at midnight and suddenly can't sleep? Because your brain sees that blue light and literally thinks, oh cool, the sun is inside my room. Our bodies aren't trying to annoy us, they're brilliantly trying to protect us based on ancient survival rules. And we absolutely can't forget about dreams. Just imagine living 40,000 years ago. Every single night, you close your eyes and literally disappear for a few hours into your own head. Dead relatives show up, terrifying monsters chase you, you visit landscapes that don't even exist, and then you wake up. And there is zero neuroscience or psychology around to explain any of it to you. To our ancestors, the line between dreams and reality practically didn't exist. It is no wonder ancient civilizations believed dreams were literal portals to another dimension. Which brings us to the end of our explainer, and I want to leave you with this really profound paradox. Our ancestors lived in a world of constant, deadly danger. They had no hospitals, no locks on their doors, no air conditioning, and definitely no memory foam. Yet, they slept when their bodies naturally wanted to sleep, they woke when they wanted to wake, and they lived in perfect sync with the planet. Today, we are arguably the safest humans to ever exist on Earth. So, why are we the ones staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m.? It's this massive, silent clash between our ancient programming and our modern world. Definitely something to think about tonight, the next time you find yourself reaching for your phone in the dark.